The day of the will reading felt less like a funeral aftermath and more like a celebration I wasn't invited to. 5 years. 5 years since Dad stopped answering my calls. 5 years since my brother Daniel slowly replaced me at the dinner table. 5 years of being told you're too emotional, too impulsive. You'll never understand business. Yet, I showed up. The lawyer's office smelled like polished wood and old money. Daniel sat beside Mom, confident, already smiling like he knew the ending. His wife squeezed his hand dramatically as if she'd already rehearsed the tears. The lawyer adjusted his glasses and began, "To my beloved son, Daniel. I leave the family home, the lake house, and the majority share of Whitmore Logistics." A soft gasp. Then silence. "I didn't move. To my son, Adam." He paused. "I leave my watch and my personal letters." That was it. A watch. Letters. The room relaxed. Daniel exhaled loudly, pretending to look humble. Mom didn't even look at me. No one did. 5 years of working in Dad's company? 5 years of building the systems that doubled profits? 5 years of sacrificing my own startup to help the family, and I was reduced to a sentimental footnote. I stood up slowly. Daniel smirked. "You okay, Adam?" I nodded. Calm. Too calm. "I'm fine," I said. "Congratulations." The word tasted bitter. I placed the small silver office key, the original master key Dad once gave me, on the polished table. "You won," I added quietly. Mom finally looked up. "Adam, don't make a scene." A scene? They had already written me out of the story. I picked up the envelope containing the watch and letters. It felt heavier than it should have. Daniel leaned back. "You always wanted to do your own thing anyway." Yes, I did. And they had no idea how true that was. Because 5 years ago, when Dad slowly pushed me aside, I didn't beg. I didn't fight. I prepared. I walked out of that office without another word. The elevator doors closed, sealing their celebration upstairs. In the parking lot, I opened the envelope. Inside the letters, between folded paper, was something else. A second key, and a short handwritten note from Dad. "If you're reading this, it means I had to choose publicly. Forgive me. Trust the warehouse." My pulse slowed. Warehouse? Dad sold the warehouse 3 years ago. Didn't he? I looked at the second key again. Small, black, not for the house, not for the lake place. Something else. Something hidden. For the first time that day, I smiled. Upstairs, they were probably pouring champagne. They had no idea. This wasn't the end of my inheritance. It was the beginning of theirs. The old warehouse sat on the edge of town like a forgotten memory. According to public records, it had been sold 3 years ago to a small holding company. I checked. The holding company traced back to a trust. The trust traced back to one name. Men. My hands trembled, not with shock, but with understanding. Dad hadn't sold it. He transferred it. Silently. Carefully. Strategically. I unlocked the warehouse door. Dust floated through streaks of sunlight. Rows of old shipping crates lined the walls. It looked abandoned, but something felt untouched. In the back office, I found a locked filing cabinet. The black key fit. Inside were contracts, updated agreements, intellectual property filings, logistics software blueprints. My software, the Optimization System 1, had built 5 years ago, the one Daniel claimed credit for during investor meetings. Dad had filed it under a separate entity, a protected one, under my name. There was more? Bank statements, investment portfolios, offshore accounts tied to the warehouse trust. Dad hadn't left me scraps. He had left me the engine. Whitmore Logistics looked powerful on the outside, but the routing system, supplier contracts, and automation codes that kept it profitable, they were licensed from this warehouse entity, which I now owned completely. Daniel didn't inherit an empire. He inherited a dependency. I sat in the old leather chair, Dad's chair, and let the truth settle. He chose Daniel publicly, but privately, he chose the one who built. My phone buzzed. A text from Daniel. "Family dinner tonight. We're celebrating." You should come. I laughed. Celebrating what? Temporary ownership? I replied. Sure, I'll bring something important. That evening, their house glowed with warm lights and louder laughter. Daniel was already telling stories about taking the company to the next level. When I entered, conversations softened. Mom forced a smile. I'm glad you came. Daniel raised his glass. To Dad's legacy. To legacy, everyone echoed. I waited until the glasses touched. Then I placed a folder on the table. What's that? Daniel asked. Just something Dad forgot to mention. He opened it casually. Halfway through the first page, his face drained of color. What is this? Licensing agreements, I said calmly. For the logistics software. The supplier contracts. The automation systems. He flipped pages faster. That's impossible. Check page 4. His hand shook. A clause highlighted in yellow. Control of licensing remains solely with the warehouse trust beneficiary. Daniel looked at me. That's you? I smiled politely. Yes. The room felt smaller. Mom whispered, Adam. What does this mean? It means, I said softly, that the company can operate, but only if I allow it to. Silence. 5 years of silence, finally broken. Daniel tried to laugh it off at first. You're bluffing. I slid another document across the table. Termination clause, I said. Effective immediately if partnership terms are violated. His lawyer would confirm it by morning. Dad had structured everything legally, carefully, quietly. You planned this, Daniel whispered. No, I replied. Dad did. The celebration dissolved. Guests made excuses. Glasses remained half full. Mom looked between us like she was seeing the family for the first time. What do you want? Daniel finally asked. There it was. Not anger, not apology, negotiation. I leaned back. For 5 years, you told everyone I was unstable, emotional, not fit for leadership. He didn't deny it. You took credit for my work. You erased my name. Still silence. I don't want the house, I continued. Or the lake place. His shoulders relaxed slightly. I want acknowledgement publicly and 50% operational control. Daniel's jaw tightened. You're blackmailing me. No, I said calmly. I'm offering partnership. He looked down at the documents again. He knew the truth. Without the licensing systems, Whitmore Logistics would collapse within months. Investors would panic. Contracts would fall apart. Dad hadn't destroyed the company. He protected it from ego. I need time, Daniel muttered. You have 72 hours, I replied. After that, licensing fees triple. I stood up, just like at the lawyer's office, but this time I wasn't empty-handed. At the door, I paused. I'm on a... Oh, I added casually. And Daniel? He looked up. The watch Dad left me? He nodded bitterly. It wasn't sentimental. I showed him the engraving on the back. To the son who builds. Then I left. 3 days later, a press release went out. Whitmore Logistics announces new co-CEO structure. My name appeared beside Daniel's. Public acknowledgement. Shared power. And this time, no one smirked. At the next board meeting, Daniel extended his hand. Not as a brother, as an equal. I shook it. Revenge isn't always about destruction. Sometimes it's about control. 5 years ago, they wrote me out of the will. They just didn't realize I was written into the foundation.